Hello guys, today we are going to be trying out some Bloxburg TikTok hacks. This is kind of a series now, so if you're looking for more TikTok hacks or just more build inspiration, make sure to check out that playlist. It'll be linked in the description. Anyway, enjoy the video. So I've always seen people do these in their houses and they're so cute, and I finally found the tutorial for it. So the first thing we do need for this TikTok hack is a horizontal plank, and we're gonna draw it across this coffee pot, but don't make it the full width. Try to make sure there's room on the sides because when we transform this in, we want to make sure it's not sticking through. And this doesn't matter what color it is. Following that, we are going to go to the tableware section and use a small mug and then place it on top of this horizontal plank. As we do this, make sure to color your item and make sure it's the color you want because you won't be able to color it after because everything kind of gets grouped together. So I'm just gonna make it a cream color for now, and then I'm just gonna use a transform tool and move it down into the coffee machine. Following that, we're gonna take a standard round rod and I'm gonna use the small grid and draw out a little line. It doesn't have to be anything huge because this is gonna be the little dispensing coffee. And before you put it into the machine, make sure you color it. So I'm just gonna make this a brown color so it looks just like coffee. I don't really know what type of texture coffee looks like. Maybe that. So now we're gonna transform it. I'm gonna use the medium grid and the blue slider, and I'm just gonna move it directly into the coffee pot. Okay, that looks pretty even. And then to make it look like the coffee was actually filled, we're going to take a vertical cylinder and just resize this so it's super small in circumference. You can just make it as small as possible because we're literally just gonna transform this into the cup. And this you can kind of eye out yourself. Just make sure it's not sticking through in any place. I'm just double checking. Now we have a working detailed coffee pot. This is really cute. And if you want to stage your house, I mean, this is a pretty ideal build hack. It was super easy. Took me maybe a minute. So next we're going to make this really cute cupcake. It just looks so realistic and adorable. So let's do it. Starting off, we need the tray. So we're going to take a log tray, resize it a little bit, something like that. This way it kind of looks like a cake stand base. I don't really know what color to make this, so I'm just going to make something like this. Following that, we're going to take a small box and place it right on top, and we are going to resize it. This way it kind of looks just like a square, something like that. And she does color it this grass texture, so I'm just going to follow that. Next, we're taking a vertical cylinder and we're placing it on top, and this is going to be the same color as the box. Next, we're going to take a seasoning grinder and we're going to place it on top of not the cylinder but this box, and she paints it red, so I'm going to do a dark pink. For the actual cupcake illusion, we're taking a vase, a round decorative vase, and we're going to resize this down something like this so it just looks like a cupcake. I'm gonna paint this pink with the wood grain texture because it looks like frosting a little bit. I'm gonna make my cupcake wrapping blue, and the best part about this is you can just copy paste the cylinder. Part of it is grouped, so let's just put these all around the plate. Oh my god, it does look like a cupcake. I'm gonna change the base to brown. Sorry, I'm really indecisive. And then to place the rest of these toppings, we're gonna take a placemat, the circular one to be exact, and we're gonna put the seasoning grinders all around. This honestly is kind of an eyeing it out thing. Just try to do your best to make it look pretty similar. I really hope this is even. So this is my solution. I couldn't figure out what she was doing, so I took a vertical cylinder, right? And then I'm placing this circular placemat with the salt shakers, or whatever this thing's called, on top, and I'm just gonna transform it into the plate because I could not get it to place itself. But there we go. Problem solved. We have a cupcake tray now. This has to be one of the cutest build hacks. It looks like cupcakes, and it was really easy to do as well. Very nice, very creative. This is how you make your own bakery stand, and I've done this already twice because once I practiced, the second I recorded, and then I lost the footage. So we're starting off with the square basic shape. I'm making it 2 1/2 blocks long, wide, whatever you call that, and then I'm making it 3 decimals wide like this. I'm just sizing it down a little bit, so I'm gonna size it down to 1.5. Next, we're gonna take a transparent cube, and this is gonna be the glass part of the case, so just extend it and just make it the width of the square, and I'm just gonna raise it up a little bit, so I'm gonna make it 3 tall, and then let's copy paste that and put them on the sides. Just resize it down. You kind of have to use small grid to get it perfected. I'm also just gonna move this glass pane so this way it's flush with the square.
Want a break from the ads?
And then let's just copy paste this one to the other side and do the same step all over again. Now I would say it's pretty flush. For the actual cover, we're just gonna take the front transparent basic shape and we're gonna resize it down and then make it wide. So this will be the cover, and then transform it up. And I'm gonna try to make it as flush as possible as I can. think that's pretty good. Following that, we're gonna take a cube once again, and this is gonna be the shelves or the tray thing that would be carrying all the desserts. And I don't want it to be going into this glass, so I'm gonna make it slightly smaller and not as wide. And then we're gonna duplicate it, so just copy and paste it, transform it up. Only select the top one and transform that too. You might want to use small grids, so you could choose the specific height of what you want for these cases. I think this is a good amount of space for each row. Most display cases are slanted so you can get a better view, so I just used the red slider and I slanted it down just like that. And I'm just gonna paint these as I go, so I'm gonna make this glass blue with the foil texture so it looks more realistic. And then I'm gonna paint this light stone gray. I'm going to make the shelves wooden. We're just gonna enhance this and make it look a little bit nicer. So we're gonna take structural, a standard round rod, and we're basically gonna trace this glass case and then do it on each side. And you can obviously just adjust it so it looks more even. Alright, there we go, and I'm just gonna paint these gold. We're just gonna make a little design on the bottom here. So using the small grid, you're just gonna eye this out and draw a type of square, just like this, and just try to make sure it's even on all sides. So there we have a square, and I'm gonna do another one inside. Boom. Now I'm just gonna color this white. It just adds some extra dimension, which makes it look more realistic. And the cool thing about this build is you could place trays, and the trays will automatically slant down too. So it's literally perfect for food items. Yeah, there we have it, a custom display case. It looks really nice. This is probably one of the coolest and most realistic build hack I've ever seen, and it's all the different types of Crumbl cookies in the carry box. The tutorial is not on TikTok, but I found it on YouTube, so technically it's still a TikTok hack because I saw it through TikTok, right? And a lot of these look like they're fall theme cookies, which is very fitting. Alright, so this counter is going to be our canvas, and we're gonna start off with the chocolate chip cookie. Instead of using a basic shape, we're actually using a pillow, the basic round pillow to be exact. And we're gonna resize it down. I'll give you guys all the proper measurements. Size it down 1.1, and on the side 1.1 as well, so this way it's a cute little circle. Next, we're taking a cube, and you can just place it to the side, and we just resize it down to the smallest it could possibly be, and we're gonna put the pillow directly on top of this way you can move and also copy and paste the cookie for later. After that, we're gonna take the transform tool and just rotate it. You kind of have to adjust this to whatever you think would look right, so I feel like this is pretty wait, also size down the cookie a little bit more. After you do that, just kind of have it hovering, so this way this cube isn't going into the pillow, but you can still move it around. Alright, next we're taking a thin square beam, and we're gonna draw it out on the counter, not on the cookie. And I would make it this length, so when it says $13. Now before we do anything else, we're just gonna paint the cookie. So for the texture, I'm using the circular stone, and I'm just gonna try to make this color look more like a cookie. So you can kind of eye this out how you want, and then paint the beam a lighter brown color, something so it looks like chocolate chips. And now we're gonna copy paste this and draw it directly onto the cookie and rotate it with the transform tool and just kind of push it into the cookie. Obviously make sure it's not sticking out in any direction, but you can kind of eye this out and do it however you want. So I'm just gonna start spamming these and put them all around the cookie. Actually, some of them might stick out, which is why I'm assuming you can just, you know, push it into the table so no one sees that part. As long as the top looks good, that's all that matters. I think this is probably the tedious part, just placing it over and over again, but I already see the vision coming to life, so it's looking good. So we have just completed the first cookie. I'm gonna put all the completed cookies over here. And then now we're gonna do the peanut butter chocolate chip cookie. We're basically starting with the same base, so I'm just gonna delete the chocolate chips off this one. For the peanut butter one, we need a half sphere. I'm just gonna place that here. And then we need a cone. Again, just for both of these, we're resizing these down all the way, so there's no specific measurement you need. And I'm gonna stick this cone on top of the half sphere and transform it down into it so it looks like a complete chocolate chip. So they should be overlapping a little bit. This way there's a little spike. And then for the chocolate chip colors, she did a variation between a dark brown and then also a light brown, so there's different types of chocolate chips. I just adjusted it a little bit so this way it looks more in the shape of a chocolate chip. These kind of look like Hershey Kisses actually. Now we have our two kiss variations, and for these, we're gonna take the kiss sphere thing and we're gonna place it on top of this basic shape and then transform it up into the cookie. And you don't want it to be too spiky, so try to keep it a little smaller. And we're just gonna repeat that with the different colors, mix it up so it looks pretty naturally made, as if someone sprinkled the chocolate over it. And now we have our very cute peanut butter cookie. So now I'm gonna move this one over here as well. And now we're gonna do a strawberry milkshake flavor. So I'm just gonna delete these. So after I deleted those, now we're going to do the strawberry milkshake cookie. To start off this cookie, we're just gonna copy paste the pillow and just place it right on top of the basic shape. And we're gonna paint this one a slightly lighter color. So I'm gonna do a color like this. And the texture I used is cobblestone. And now I just transformed it on top of the other cookie, just like that. So the one on top, we're gonna transform to make a little bit smaller. This way it kind of overlays on top of the cookie. And I'm gonna resize it so it's at 1. Now I'm just gonna transform it so it's centered inside the cookie. And the color I'm using for this is pastel orange, and the texture is just plastic. We're just resizing it one more time just to make sure it's perfectly centered. All right, we're going back to basic shapes, and we're taking a concave outer corner, which is this. Just like the other times, we're just gonna resize it all the way down, place it on top of the basic shape once again. I'm assuming this is gonna look like it's a whipped topping, so you kind of just want to angle it so it looks like a little whipped cream flick, just like that. After that, we're gonna take a half sphere and just resize it down all the way. And then once you do that, we're gonna resize it 0.4 wide. Then copy paste this one and add another one on top of it rotated, and then transform this down. Boom. Kind of looks like a little star. And then take that item and place it on top of the basic shape once again, and we're just gonna transform that up. So it's kind of just sticking out a bit. And we're just painting that white. You can use institutional white. I'm assuming this is a marshmallow, and we're gonna do that one more time. So let's transform this back up. But then I'm gonna rotate it so it looks thicker. All right, now we're gonna take a small round rod and just draw it on the cookie. The texture for this is the bird's texture, and we're gonna paint it light stone gray. This is kind of mimicking the straw, so we're gonna transform this so this way you can't see the blue part of the texture and you'll only see this sort of straw material. And voila, here we have our strawberry milkshake cookie. So there are 3 other cookies that she does show how to make, but they are very similar to the first 3 I did. But if you do want to make those as well, I'm gonna link the video in the description and you can watch the full tutorial. So this took me about 45 minutes to do total, and that was also because, you know, there was room for mistakes and I had to redo stuff, but these look so good. This is probably the most accurate tutorial I've ever seen. Make sure to check out her channel, Caked Chloe, and make sure to also follow her TikTok, which is also Caked Chloe. We've been doing a lot of bakery items, but we're just gonna continue that for a moment and make a custom takeout box. Of course, we do need some food, so I'm gonna place down a fridge just so I can grab some donuts. We're taking each donut individually. This way in build mode, we can select them individually. So I think I only need 4, but I'll just do 5 just in case. In this tutorial specifically, she uses 4, and we're just gonna place them in a formation that would look like it was in a box. This is pretty good box size, I would say. Just don't spread them out too much because we want it to fit within the constraints of a cube. I should probably center this a little bit. We're gonna resize this cube. This way it fits around the donuts, but it's not too much. So this is kind of just an eye it out and see what fits best. So I've made this square slightly bigger than these donuts, and now I'm actually going to take the donuts and put it on top of the cube because we want everything grouped together. You wouldn't want to place the basic shape underneath it because then it wouldn't be linked together. So now we're gonna take the same cube once again and copy it, and we're resizing this to make it the edge of the box. So I just resized it vertically and I'm placing it right on top of the box here. See how it's kind of hanging on the edge here? We're just gonna resize this down so it's pretty flush with the existing cube, and then to actually make it look like an edge, we're just gonna raise it up, and we're just gonna repeat that process on the other side too. When doing this, you probably want to memorize how far down you brought it. So I remember I made it so the basic shape was flush with this shape, and then I raised it up so it was around something like that. The way I'm gonna make sure this is fully aligned is just by moving it next to the other basic shape. So now I can see it's perfectly aligned, and now I'm just gonna bring it back to this side. And we're just gonna repeat that 2 more times for each other side. After we do that, we're just gonna recolor it. So I'm gonna use the foil texture just like she did, which is pretty accurate to what a cafe would use. Usually boxes are pretty shiny. And then once we do that, we're gonna take a semi-transparent cube and we're gonna resize it so this way it fits directly on top of the box because it's gonna be the cover. So I'm just gonna place this directly on top of the box and resize it that way just because I think that's the easiest way to do it. And once you do that, it is fully complete. But there you have it, a sweets takeout box. You could really put anything in here. And this entire thing is copy pastable besides the actual sweets. You just need to put those in yourself, but this was super easy to make and it looks super good. No surprise here, we're doing another bakery related thing. Well, maybe not bakery, but ice cream, but it's an ice cream scooping counter. First thing we need is the commercial insulated ingredient counter. We're starting off with a cube basic shape and we're gonna resize this so it covers this little tomato thing. So probably something like this. I am gonna place it on top of the counter just so it's grouped together. So let's just do that, and now let's transform it in. Just make sure it's not clipping into any of the other areas. And we're gonna do this for every single filling box thing. Following this, we're gonna color each square as if they were ice creams. I'm gonna make this one pink for strawberry, this one for chocolate, this one for vanilla. So we're gonna pretend this is moose tracks or something of that sort. I'm gonna make this one vanilla, but I'm gonna try to make it look more vanilla-y with a texture. Maybe something like that. I'm just adding texture so it looks a little bit more differentiated. Obviously, you can do it however you please. Maybe just something like that. Following this, we're just gonna color the counter now, so I'm gonna do it a cream pastel color. And now for some extra detail, let's take a small basic shape like this, and we're gonna resize it down all the way. We're gonna take a spoon. This is gonna be our makeshift ice cream scooper. I don't really know what color an ice cream scooper would be, so I'm just gonna color it a goldish white. And now let's just transform that ourselves. I kind of want to try to hide the little basic shape, so I'm just gonna mess around until you can't see it anymore. To blend it in a little more, I'm just gonna color the basic shape cube, the same pink as the ice cream. And voila, there you have it, a cute little ice cream assortment. This one didn't really require much basic shapes, which I really like. It's a lot easier to do. If you want to add it to your build, it takes maybe a minute or two, but it's so adorable. I love this build hack. You TikTokers are amazing and so talented. At this point, I'm just gonna call this a bakery build hacks video because we're just doing all types of desserts. Let's make a loaf of bread. It looks pretty simple and self-explanatory. We are starting off with a basic shape cube. What a surprise. This is literally used for everything. They don't explicitly say how big the square was, so I'm just gonna kind of do this based on my own perception. So mine is 1 wide. I'll just do 1.25 long. And then we're going to copy paste this on top of it and make this slightly thinner. So I'm gonna make this 0.8 wide now, and I'm gonna raise it up. So this way it's around 0.55 tall. And then let's just copy this base and then delete the top. And next we're gonna take 2 horizontal cylinders. So just place 1 for now, and let's resize it down and make it the same length. And we want it to kind of be sticking out a little bit, so I'm gonna make this one relatively big. I'm gonna make this one 0.65 wide, and I'm just gonna copy it and place it right next to this one. It kind of looks like Mickey Mouse ears, and I think I want to make it a little bit bigger. This way it's hanging off the side, so I'm just gonna resize this to 0.75. And essentially we're just gonna take this, place it on top, and we don't want this little gap here, so we're just gonna resize these little Mickey Mouse ears down. So I'm gonna move mine down to -16, and let's just take this, place it on top, and transform it into the existing basic shape, just like that. And now we just kind of color everything, so I'm gonna make this what I think bread would look like, darkish orangey brown. And then this is the inside of the bread. It's supposed to be a little lighter, so I'm just gonna make this more of a yellow. I don't know, maybe this is like really botched, but I want the bread to stick out a little more, so I'm just gonna take these cylinders, take this square. Oh my god, it's like all grouped together. Okay, I'm just gonna stretch this out a little bit. So this is where it was. Okay, I kind of just dissected this entire thing, but let's put everything back together now. Then I did move it down. It was like 16. This is me being extra, by the way. All right, then let's move this down. There we go. Much better. And there we have it, a custom loaf of bread. That was super simple. I just stuck it in my display case. It looks really adorable, actually. This is perfect for a bakery. 10 out of 10 build hack. Super easy. So this is a baby play gym. If you do roleplay or you just like staging your houses, probably a good build hack for you. It doesn't really look too hard, so we're gonna hope it's pretty quick. As always, we're starting off with the cube, the essential for every single build hack, and we're gonna size it down. They make it 3.75 wide. They're actually coloring as they go, so I'm just gonna do the same thing. Now we're resizing this up to around 2.5. I'm gonna move this just directly on this line so I can get an idea. Put the medium grid on so you can see these tiny squares, and then from this first little indentation, we're gonna just click and connect just like that, and then I'm gonna repeat that. This one's a lot cleaner, so I'm just gonna fix this one and clean it up a little bit. Kind of just have to eye it out yourself. And now I'm just gonna repeat that on this side too. All right, so let's just color that, and we're just gonna adjust this. So I'm gonna move these to the sides just like that, and then I'm gonna push this in so it's cleaner. Now I'm just gonna align the other side doing the same thing. So I'm taking a vertical plank, and I'm just gonna try to draw it right where this starts and this ends. So I'm using medium grid, and I'm just kind of eyeing this out myself, and I'm just gonna raise it up so I can actually see what's going on. Okay, let me just color that to match the rest. And this doesn't really matter because we're gonna delete this after. You're just basically using this as a way to connect rods. So we're gonna take a small rod and connect it to the top. I'm just adjusting this so it's more centered, but now let's take a small round rod and we're gonna connect it to the top stringy thing. It's okay if it's uneven. You could adjust this yourself, which is what I'm gonna do. Boom. Okay, now I can delete that, and I'm just gonna color these white. All right, so now we're making the little shapes that are gonna hang from it. First, we're gonna start off with a beveled vertical cylinder, and we're pretty much just resizing this down so it looks super tiny. kind of like a toy. And then this is another thing you kind of have to eye out. We're just going to transform it up so this way it connects to the string, and then you can just adjust it how you like. For the next shape, we are going to take a horizontal wedge and resize that down pretty much to the smallest it can be. And now I'm just gonna freely rotate this one just so it looks like it's been played with. So I'm putting it on an angle a little bit, and then I am gonna adjust the size a little bit, just like that. For the last shape, we're gonna take a convex straight, and then following the same steps as before, just resize it how you like so it looks like a toy. And then I'm just gonna link it. And now we could just color all these. So I'm gonna color this pink, and then if you wanted to add more decoration, we could just take a carpet and let's just paint this pink as well. And voila, there you have a little baby play area. Very simple. Just a few tedious steps, but it wasn't hard. This took me around 10 minutes to do. So this is a realistic book tutorial, which looks so cool. I thought this was all custom. So first off, we do need a coffee table book, and I'm going to use the plain coffee table one. And I actually just learned from this video that you can resize the book. Like, what? When did they add this? I don't usually check things like this to see, because most decorative items aren't resizable. Or at least I don't think so. I just learned something new. I'm gonna make it thicker. Next, we're taking the infamous transparent cube. This is a literal necessity for every build hack, and just resize it down all the way. And we're gonna place it on top of the book surface. After that, we're taking a poster like this and placing it on the basic shape. And you're gonna want to resize this so it's the same width as the book. So I think this is perfect. And now we're just gonna transform it so it's laying flat on top. I don't think I have to move it down all that much, yeah. And now we're just gonna resize it so it fits perfectly on the book. I'm just gonna color this a light beige. In the TikTok, she does include a bunch of cool book covers, so I'm gonna use this one. And as always, the TikToks will be linked in the description, so if you're looking for them, you can just click on the link and then see them if my tutorial isn't as clear as theirs. And voila, now we have a very cute, realistic looking book. Anyway, that is all the TikTok hacks for today. Let me know which one was your favorite. I think mine was definitely the Crumbl cookies. I'll see you guys next week.
You know you love me. XOXO.
FrenchRxses girl.